While she may be known as Pitch Perfect's scene-stealing Fat Amy to many, Rebel Wilson has been taking the world by storm for years. Join us as we take a look back at the life of this hilarious Australian actress and how she's transformed over the years. Born on March 2, 1980 in Sydney, Australia, Rebel Wilson grew up with 3 siblings in the loving care of her professional beagle breeder parents. Wilson recalled in Marie Claire, "I was so unusually shy, bordering on a social disorder. So my mom, one day she drives me to this community acting class. I was holding on to the car door and crying. She had to peel me off the car. She's like, 'I'll pick you up in 2 hours,' and she left me." As for where her comedic streak comes from, Wilson told Image, "My family reckons I'm like not funny at all. They think they're all funnier. And I'm like, what professional comedy have you done?" Wilson started to find her voice as a teenager, as she explained to Flair. "I went to an all-girls Christian high school, and we were very much encouraged to, go after the career that you want, and go out into the world and pursue what you want to do and live your dreams." It was when Wilson attended the University of New South Wales, as well as the Australian Theatre for Young People, that she would find her footing on the stage. But she didn't set out to do comedy, as the actress told the New York Times. "I thought I was playing a serious stage role. I got visibly quite angry that people were laughing at me, and then people would laugh more. I thought fat is funny in a weird way. People find it easier to laugh at bigger girls, and I thought that's going to be my game plan." That game plan would become her lucky calling card in Hollywood. Having already found success in Australia, Wilson moved to West Hollywood in 2010 at 30 years old, and the cards were stacked against her in more ways than one. According to InStyle, Wilson said, "No one thought I would be a feature film actress crushing it around the world, but I beat the odds and have achieved so much." As it turned out, Wilson's comedic style helped her stand out in a sea of serious actors. As she told Hunger TV, "I think I'm one of the first comedy actors from Australia to come bring my own style here, so that's a bit different." In fact, it was Wilson's differences that helped land her the Hollywood roles that she's now famous for. She shared with Cosmopolitan in 2015, "Being unique and different was a really good thing. When I walked into my agent's office for the first time, they looked at me and said, 'Wow, we have nobody on our books like you,' and they signed me on my second day in the US." The star joined the William Morris Endeavor Agency in 2010, and it wasn't long before the 30-year-old Australian transplant scored her breakout role as Kristen Wiig's roommate Bryn in the 2011 comedy Bridesmaids.
You just moved into a new house with
here in Los Angeles
with your Bridesmaids co-star, Matt Lucas.
Wilson made some changes when she moved to Los Angeles, but she was still the same girl at heart. In 2015, Wilson told Cosmopolitan, "Living in LA, you learn a lot about health. I now drink green juices and I'm trying to do gluten-free. I love me some ice cream or dessert, and it comes at times when I'm happy or sad. So when I have an incredibly successful day, I want to celebrate and reward myself with food." As for speculation about her weight, Wilson keeps a healthy attitude about it, especially as her career has gone from strength to strength. She told Daily Life in 2015, "The odds of an Australian girl making it in Hollywood is like 1 in 25 million. I'm lucky, but I also think I worked hard. I deserve it." Rebel Wilson shared with People in October 2015, "I'm currently like a size 18, sometimes a 16 depending on how good I've been, so I'm kind of just a bit too big for most regular clothing." In November 2015, Wilson launched a collaboration with plus-sized brand Torrid, bringing fans a taste of her signature style. Initially unsure of her prospects as a fashion designer, Wilson told E! News, "I didn't think I'd be able to design clothes. I thought that's not in my repertoire." Despite any initial nerves as for why it was important to design her own line, Wilson told InStyle, "I want people to be a rebel in their own lives. I've always been a nonconformist. That's actually what my high school principal wrote in my final school report. I never just accepted things as they were, especially if they were unfair. I want this energy to rub off on other people and encourage girls and women out there to go out and crush it in their lives." Despite being extremely famous, Wilson is still the same woman underneath that lifestyle upgrade. As she told Cosmopolitan, "Even though, yes, now I am in movies or whatever, I am still that dorky girl. People think you're really confident because you're an actress or whatever, but I'm like the worst." The actress also reminisced about having been working at an Australian movie theater when her first movie, Fat Pizza, opened in 2003 when she was 23 years old. She told Seth Meyers, "When people were leaving the cinema, I'd be there holding the trash bag. dialogue. And they'd be like, hey, weren't you in that movie? And I'd be like, yeah. A week later, I had to quit. But while Wilson may be a mega movie star now, she hasn't forgotten her roots. The comedian finances scholarships for the Australian Theatre for Young People that gave her that initial start. Having earlier been awarded a Nicole Kidman-funded scholarship to Chicago's Second City, Wilson's making the most out of paying it forward. As a successful star who's made a career out of her figure, Rebel Wilson's got a strict policy when it comes to taking her clothes off on screen. Wilson opened up to Marie Claire UK about filming The Brothers Grimsby and said, "They wanted full frontal. We write in the contract specifically, I'm not doing that. I don't care what you say. You want to know that the people behind the camera have a certain sensibility and decency. And a lot of times in comedy, they're not those people." While she admits to having gained weight to land funnier roles, Wilson's real genius lies in her sense of humor. Discussing the pressures of Hollywood, she told Marie Claire, "I've always tried to use my brain to get places." And judging by her impressive resume, Wilson's plan is working pretty well. The native Aussie revealed just what she does to prepare for an American role, as she told Conan, "I want a real genuine American accent, so I watch shows like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I've been watching a lot of Honey Boo Boo. I do actually watch them and just repeat them when they talk." Meanwhile, the actress revealed the other ways she prepares for a role, as she told Cosmopolitan, "I'm trying to get physically fit so I'll have the stamina. I got a personal trainer. I'm not doing it to look great or whatever, but to have the energy to do all that work. People wouldn't think it looking at me, but I can exercise." Although she may rock more curves than most of Hollywood's A-list, she's all about keeping her body in good condition. She told LUK, "You need to be physically strong for this job. I like to have the stamina to work 16 hours a day. I may eat a lot, but I am very healthy." Wilson even did all her own aerial stunts for Pitch Perfect 2, overcoming her acrophobia. In an article in the Los Angeles Times, she said, "I stretched every day to be able to do the stunts. I'm afraid of heights, so I told them, I'll do it 3 times. I'll crush it, so turn all your cameras on." And I nailed it. Rebel Wilson took some heat for passing up the opportunity to present a 2015 MTV VMA Award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner. She told Australian radio hosts Kyle and Jackie O in 2018, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." It's also worth noting the fact that Wilson holds a law degree and used those skills early in her career to negotiate performance contracts.
I also have a law degree as well, guys.
Plus, Wilson has won multiple honors, including several MTV Movie Awards and Glamour's International Woman of the Year, so it's perhaps no wonder she put up a fight. When it comes to romance, Rebel Wilson seems to be content whether she's in a relationship or not. She told Flair in 2016, "Interestingly enough, I caught up with some of my girlfriends from high school when I was back in Australia, and a lot of them weren't very happy with their situations and were envious of mine. I'm definitely not lonely in any way. I love being by myself."
Now it's time for a guided meditation for all those lost daters out there.
While she'll happily vacation solo at her every whim, Wilson did muse about some of the downsides to being single. As she told Flair, "I don't think I'll be getting anything this Valentine's Day, but there was a line in this movie, The Diary of a Teenage Girl, where the main character goes, 'I wonder if anybody loves me who I don't know about.' And I was like, that's interesting. You never know. On Valentine's Day, you could get sent something." Wilson knows only too well that Hollywood is often a boys' club. However, the comedian is making the most of her movie success and told Flair in 2016, "I feel really lucky to be a woman in Hollywood doing comedy right now. Now that more writers are getting a chance to create these scripts, it's just more edgy. Girls are often relegated to just being the love interest in a guy's movie, which is a waste." 4 years before hitting our screens, the bombshell gleaned inspiration from legendary comedians and told Marie Claire, "As a teenager, I'd put Absolutely Fabulous on instead of working. Jennifer Saunders was the first woman I ever saw on TV who wrote and performed her own material." Saunders has since played Wilson's mother in Isn't It Romantic, which had to be a dream come true for the actress. And while Wilson is currently pulling a Saunders and creating her own projects, she admits that being a woman in a male-dominated industry is still an uphill battle. Wilson explained to Elle, "How I see it is, I do 2 types of job. Dream jobs like female-driven comedies and the other job which is basically the boys' club. I've done 3 big movies with men. These are talented, strong-minded males, but you have to find a way to work that system. You aren't being paid much and you start at a disadvantage with the script. Usually you don't have any cool jokes and you're there to support the male actor." Before Pitch Perfect 3 was released in 2017, Rebel Wilson was already excited about creating even more female-driven projects, and the powerhouse has even started to consider moving away from comedy and taking on some dramatic roles, as she told Glamour. "I've started to get offers for more serious roles, and when I trained as an actor, you don't just train in comedy, of course. Someone who I really admire is Robin Williams, who is such a genius comedian, but when he did dramatic roles, they were such good dramatic turns. So yes, I'm sure there's something around the corner." Whatever acting projects the star takes on in the future, they're sure to have Wilson's signature stamp all over them. Before Rebel Wilson was a big-time Hollywood celeb, she never worried too much about what she wore. Part of that was due to the fact that she didn't really have to, given the work that she was doing. She confessed in an interview with InStyle, "I never got anywhere because of my looks. I got places because I had a good brain and a good imagination. Only since moving to the States was I like, people pay attention to what I wear. I should try to class it up a little bit." Wilson also comes from a family that never spent too much time building their wardrobes or focusing on beauty, which rubbed off on her as well. As she explained to InStyle, "I didn't even get my nails done until I was 25. It took my best friend Nick looking at my feet one day and going, 'You should maybe do something about your nails,' for me to realize that I should go to a nail salon. Now I'm obsessed with going." When the German company Bauer Media published an article in Woman's Day that accused Rebel Wilson of lying about her name, childhood, and age, the actress decided to fight back. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Wilson sued the media company for defamation in 2017, saying that their articles had done damage to her reputation and had caused her to miss out on lucrative roles. She won the lawsuit and was awarded $3.6 million in damages. However, on appeal, her payout was reduced to $436,000 as the ruling said there was insufficient evidence that she lost out on major roles because of the information in the articles. At the end of it all, Wilson's takeaway was positive, as her point had been made, and she explained, "I have been determined to stand up to a bully, and I am proud of myself for doing so." The year 2019 was pretty magical for Rebel Wilson, as she starred in the romantic comedy Isn't It Romantic, along with Liam Hemsworth and Adam Devine. Appearing on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Wilson proclaimed, "I'm kind of proud to be the first ever plus-sized girl to be the star of a romantic comedy." And while she misspoke, as both Queen Latifah and Monique have helmed rom-com films in the past, there's certainly a dearth of roles for plus-size women in romantic comedies, so it's still something to celebrate.
I mean, I still haven't found love, so I try to get out there.
In addition to starring in Isn't It Romantic, Wilson also claimed her first ever producer credit, as she was one of the film's executive producers. She revealed in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, "I've kind of got the bug for it now." Clearly she does, as she went on to produce the next film that she starred in, The Hustle. If there's one thing about Rebel Wilson that hasn't changed over the years, in spite of her extraordinary success, it's her work ethic. On top of her acting career and producing ventures, she's also released a line of clothing and shoes, and she has the drive to keep doing more. Wilson explained in an interview with InStyle, "I think it comes from not having much as a child and seeing other people have stuff and just wanting to be financially secure. I always wanted to make something of myself, and weirdly, I always believed I would be rich and successful even as a very young child, and I would say that to people. If you manifest what you want, I really do think it comes true." Even though Wilson wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth, she always knew that she'd be a Hollywood success story one day. As the actress told InStyle, "It's not so much about having money. I like doing good, charitable things, but it is also nice when you don't have much." While Rebel Wilson's work ethic has remained solid over the years, one thing that has evolved is her confidence, which seems to have grown a lot. Much of that is due to the fact that Wilson has continually nurtured her creativity, which helped her to find her voice. As the performer shared with InStyle, "You can get a lot of confidence through creative arts, and that's definitely why I was forced into it in the first place. It was a way of expression, not because I wanted to be famous or wanted to be somebody else. But of course, getting famous certainly has its perks, something Wilson celebrated when she was cast in the 2019 film Cats." She gushed to InStyle. "Also, in High School Musicals, I was never cast as the lead, and then last week, when I was on set for Cats, I was like, I'm in mother Cats. I'm singing for Andrew Lloyd Webber." Over the years, Rebel Wilson has been a fierce advocate for body positivity, especially for plus-sized women. She knows she's a role model, which is something she takes very seriously. The actress told the Associated Press, "There's a lot of pressure on women, especially younger women, to conform to the thin body image. Not everyone can be that way, and no one should be ashamed of how they look or suffer bullying and other forms of abuse because of their size and shape. I'm a very unique case in Hollywood because there are very few women who look like me and are working a lot lot in movies. As well as supporting plus-sized women all over the world, Wilson advocates keeping healthy, and she announced on Instagram, "Okay, so for me, 2020 is going to be called the year of health. So I put on the athleisure and went out for a walk, deliberately hydrating on the couch right now and trying to avoid the sugar and junk food, which is going to be hard after the holidays I've just had, but I'm going to do it. Who's with me in making some positive changes this year?" It seems as though only good things are ahead for Wilson. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebrities are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.